man, just sit there and shut up. This ain't no democracy.
Yes, it is.
No, it ain't. This is the United States. Your ass belong to me. They don't give a damn about you. They don't like you. I don't like you. Nobody likes you.
The White House has the audacity to send out a public letter demanding that news organizations ramp up their scrutiny of the GOP's Biden impeachment inquiry based on lies. The White House has the bloody cheek to start ordering news organizations, and CNN, of course, covering this unquestioningly. It's time for the media to ramp up the scrutiny of the House Republicans opening an impeachment inquiry based on lies, says Ian Sams, Mr. Testicle. The spokesperson for the White House counsel wrote in a letter, according to a draft copy obtained by CNN, of course, leaked to them by CNN. Obtained. Yeah, LOL. The letter, which said an impeachment inquiry with no supporting evidence, should set off alarm bells in news organizations. Oh, yeah? Got it? This is from the same people that impeached Donald Trump for a phone call. Okay, so what was the media's response to Joe Biden over this? The Washington Post ran a front page article saying Joe Biden needs to drop out. That's so good. President Biden should not run again. Ooh, that's so great when the rats start to eat each other. You think there's any honor among thieves? No, baby. They use their kids in hospital beds as props. These people are scum. President Biden should not run again in 2024. From David Ignatius. Mr. David Ignatius, this guy is a CIA plant. Okay? This is a guy who's often and invariably leaked time again, like information by our deep state in order to publish inside of the Washington Post, the pages of the Washington Post. David Ignatius is being given orders to write articles like this. This is not a immediate finding of a soul from these people. Okay? My favorite line from it. At the heart of whether Joe Biden is the best person to carry the legacy forward, I feel it's time to have more public discussion about this. What a journalist like me should do is take issues like that people talk about in private and bring them forward so we can have better discussion. So Washington Post effectively saying, do not run. Do not run for president. We've done the math. We've done the numbers. You'll lose. We get Trump again. Watch.
It seemed to me through this summer, I haven't gone anywhere in the country. I haven't talked to any group of people where this issue of whether President Biden should run again hasn't been a centerpiece of conversation. It doesn't get into the newspapers. It doesn't get much on TV except Fox News, which is obsessed with it. And I thought that it was time to raise that question. Again, the heart of it is whether Joe Biden is the best person to carry this legacy forward. He may decide that he's the only person who can defeat Donald Trump. I mean, he sees that as his mission. That's why he ran in the first place back in 2019. He may decide he's the guy who can do it and nobody else can, and that's his decision. But I felt it was time to have a more public discussion about this. It is, as I say, something I'd be surprised if you and Joe and the people you talk with are not discussing it in private. I find that everywhere I go, it's a subject. And what journalists like me should do is take issues like that people are talking about in private and bring them forward so we can have a better discussion. So that's it.
Oh, man. Okay. So first off, hard to listen to. Two, you're not a journalist. You are clearly a mouthpiece for establishment Washington, D.C., and this is a warning sign to Joe Biden. You got to be able to read. These are not these people. These people don't suddenly meet Jesus, okay? So listen, that's fine. If you really do have a conversion moment, then more power to you, quite frankly. But what I'm saying is that based on their nature, these people aren't doing this out of the best angels sitting on their shoulders. They're not doing this for the betterment of the angels. They're doing this because they're being told to do this, because they've run the numbers and they know that Trump will win in a landslide against Joe Biden. They had 4 years to figure it out. Joe Biden effed it up. And now he's going to be impeached, and they know that something is about to drop. They know something. They know something we don't know. The White House responding to this is just, absolutely spectacular. So the White House was asked this live seconds ago on CNN. Great production team here. We were able to clip it, get it up. And it is great. Okay, so first off, this clip begins with the CNN reporter having to apologize for asking this question. So the CNN reporter is talking with the White House and being like, I'm so sorry I have to ask about this, but the Washington Post is saying you shouldn't run again. What do you say? And, oh, man. Ballsack guy is not happy. Watch.
One thing, and this will be my last one, a lot of people in Washington right now, and I know this is probably going to drive your team crazy that I ask it this way, but I think it matters because it's accurate, because the columnist who wrote a piece today asking for the president not to seek re-election, David Ignatius, is well respected within the building behind you. What's your response to that idea? It's not just about the president, it's also about the vice president who you worked for in the 2020 campaign.
Yeah, well, I'm governed by the Hatch Act, and I want to be really careful. But obviously, the president has announced he's running for re-election, and the president is going to make his case to the American people. And I'll refer you to the campaign for any sort of campaign questions. But this president has a lot to be proud of and a lot to run on. He's delivered some of the most consequential achievements and economic progress in generations with the Inflation Reduction Act, the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS bill, which is opening new factories and creating new manufacturing jobs around the country. That's what he's going to be talking about versus these sort of political sideshows that congressional Republicans are starting to launch into right now.
Why do guys always look like that? Why do you always get these low T guys? It's the soy frappe guys. And why always get these guys look like that? Get that man some Gold Bond. Like, please, quickly. Like, that guy is chafing and angry and very upset that he's having to take on this job. Remember, the White House wouldn't need a war room if they didn't believe that they were going to war. Why would they be, why so serious? As the Joker might say. Well, because even CNN is calling out Joe Biden on their lies. It's not because they've suddenly realized that Joe Biden's a liar. It's because they're being told to torpedo Joe Biden. They've been told Biden is going down, best to grab whatever ashes are left of our reputation and let the ship sink. Watch.
He has done, I don't know if it's similar things, but he's sort of told some stories that don't line up quite like this before.
Yeah, this president has a pattern at this point of either inventing or embellishing stories about his own past, his biography. He did it 3 times in one speech last month alone. He claimed he had witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh when he actually showed up about 6 hours later. He claimed that his grandfather had died just days before he was born himself at the same hospital. In fact, his grandpa died more than a year before in a different state, not the same hospital. And he also repeated a favorite false story that I and others have debunked over and over again about a supposed conversation with an Amtrak train conductor he was friends with, who was actually deceased at the time the conversation would have had to take place. And that's not all. There are some more serious ones in my view. Previously in his presidency, he claimed at one point he'd been arrested during a civil rights protest when, in other versions of the story, he just said an officer had taken him home from a protest. He said he had visited the Pittsburgh synagogue where worshipers were killed in a 2018 mass shooting. In fact, he had actually spoken to the rabbi, but never went. And he's made a whole bunch of others too.
Oh man, what does that mean? What does it mean when CNN has finally put a reporter on the issue? So inside of the journalist bullpen, right, you have an editor, and those editors assign stories. There's too much going on in the world. So you have to take a journalist and you have to put him on a specific beat. And the journalist covers that beat and asks questions pursuant that beat. And so what does it mean when CNN has taken one of their lispy, limp-wristed fact checkers and then shoved them into the Joe Biden beat? Have you ever seen anything like that? Now, they don't say Joe Biden lies. They would never use the L word. But even Axios from this morning is straight up with like, Joe Biden's lying now. Lying. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden lied about where he was on September 11th. Joe Biden said he was at ground zero the next day. That's a empirical, demonstrable, provable lie, given the evidence. Joe Biden said he saw a fireball come from the Pentagon after the attack. No, you didn't, dude. No, you didn't. You can't see the Pentagon from Capitol Hill. They're so dishonest. So if they lie about the small things, they'll lie about the big things, and they know that Joe Biden is guilty, and they're scared. It's scared. Let's check some of the what some of the lefties are saying about this impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, and then we're going to tell you some new things that we've just learned. Cenk Uygur, good old Cenk. He's one of the biggest YouTubers, one of the biggest lefty lib YouTubers. You may not know who he is, but he's got a huge platform. I'll say the thing that nobody else is willing to say. Joe Biden is being selfish by running again. He's putting his ego above his interests of his own party and his country. You're starting to see these hot takes by the left. These aren't crackpots. These are people in control of the biggest lefty YouTube accounts. President Biden, do not run. Please drop out. Drop out. And Cenk went in hard against Biden this weekend. People in the Democrat Party are not taking this well, obviously. So Adam Schiff, let's begin, saying this is essentially an evidence-free impeachment. Oh, you speak from experience, Adam. Go.
And I'll tell you what it's not. It's not impeachment based on high crimes or misdemeanors or any evidence of such things. This is an essentially evidence-free impeachment, and it is purely politically motivated by McCarthy and Donald Trump.
Okay, let's see here, pal. You're the dude who said that you've seen direct evidence of Donald Trump colluding with Russia. Where is it? Where is it? We have the tape. Why don't you show me that? Anything? Nothing? Nada? These scum. Seriously, I don't know what the recourse is for people like Adam Schiff. I do know that turnabout is fair play, and that what's going to happen to these people based on their own rules and their own standards is going to be absolutely biblical. Chuck Schumer, the guy who voted to impeach Donald Trump twice, saying, well, the thing is that Joe Biden didn't inspire an erection. At least there's that. Go.
I think the impeachment inquiry is absurd. The American people want us to do something that will make their lives better, not go off on these chases and witch hunts. The bottom line is, as we've said, you can only accomplish keeping the government open in a bipartisan way.
Man, he's calling it a witch hunt. At least he's using words, though. At least he's using words. Mr. Unga Bunga, the senator from Pennsylvania, was doing his greatest lurch impression inside of the halls of the Capitol. This is just primo content. Watch John Fetterman's reaction to the impeachment news.
Ask you about this news that Speaker McCarthy has formally launched an impeachment or has said he's going to.
Oh my God, really? Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh no.
Sorry, we gotta run back to the office, but
Did you see the staffer? Did you see the staffer being like, what are you doing? John Fetterman. Like, what are you doing? Come on, man. Oh, it's so good. Adam Schiff Jr., Dan Goldman, he's going to be the guy who does all the messaging and all the heavy labor on this issue for Democrats now. Adam Schiff, of course, has no credibility left. And so they're going to trot out Dan Goldman, very, very sweaty, very nervous, silver spoon, trust fund baby. Adam Goldman never had to face a tough question in his entire life. Straight up saying, there's no evidence, right? Remember, they're changing their tune here. Listen carefully. Watch.
There is no evidence, none whatsoever, and I don't care how much they say otherwise. I have looked at it. There is no direct evidence that President Biden was involved in any way, shape, or form in Hunter Biden's business dealings.
Notice how he changes. He goes from evidence. See, this guy's a lawyer, right? So he goes from evidence, and he remembers what it's like to be in a court of law. It wasn't too long ago that he was in a court of law. So he's like, wait a second, I gotta actually be careful what I say here. There's no direct evidence. I love that clip. No direct evidence. Not yet, at least. Not yet. And that's what they're all scared about, ladies and gentlemen. We know something you don't know. They're preparing for something. They wouldn't have been given the bat signal by the superstate, by the machine inside of Washington, D.C., if Joe Biden wasn't doomed.